Hi, I wonder if you also sit at your work now. It's middle of the week and you are waiting for Friday. I was such a person for more than a decade, always waiting for Friday, always waiting for new opportunity and in the constant process of the recruitment or I would say the job search because every job after another was a disappointment. And for years, I didn't know what the hell is wrong with me because I thought that that's my fault that I'm not able to keep a job. And it wasn't necessarily my fault. And now I see it being a freelancer and a business owner because many times we are simply mismatched in terms of our qualification versus this what industry offers. Yeah, some time ago, I think that it was yesterday, 2 days ago, or a week ago, I don't remember. I came across really interesting interview with the HR expert who said it was interview about the millennials and Gen Z in the workplace. And it was a question, kind of controversial, how what is wrong with the Gen Z and millennials that they change work so much and why they are so unreliable and also so I quote here unfaithful in towards the workplace. And the guy who responded brought a really interesting point. And one of those points covered the fact that as a millennials and Gen Z, I'm millennial, we've seen so many of our parents, friends, acquaintances being used by the system. And who sane who would like to commit to the company which can lay you off anytime? I think that that's the reason why so many of us, after a few years of being a part of the employee world, decide to quit. Some of us are even smarter to don't even enter this market. My example, based on my example, I enter as an employee because I thought and I was taught that that's the way to go. So I switch jobs. I work in finance for the few years. I work in procurement for the few years. I prefer procurement since the day one. Uh, Simply by choosing different jobs, I wanted to, I would say, heal my internal insecurities and prove myself. And guess what? This the I got through the almost 15 years of the experience as an employee to the point that I couldn't do it anymore. Simply all jobs looked like the same one with the different tweaks and twists because I wouldn't put absolutely all my employers to the same bucket. But from the high level, now I see it that it was more or less the same job and the same mindset which I used entering these jobs. And after a few months, usually after a few months, when I was like really dedicated and full of enthusiasm, I start to see the gaps. I start to see bad sides and the good sides, which are a part of every workplace, no matter if you are freelancer, owner, founder. The landscape is the same. Simply this, what I see now, being a business owner, that my motivation is different because I see the purpose. Many times those jobs, not it depends, of course, if you work for the bigger company or if you work for the small companies, but many times jobs are constructed in the way that you don't see the results of your work. And in my opinion, this is done on purpose to kind of crush your spirit and or the you see your results only during the appraisal review, or in every company this is called differently. And this appraisal review, basically it's nothing else like showing you carrot, please do more than your current position, and maybe in the future you are a really great candidate to promote, so maybe we can promote you. um, of course, it was crushing, discouraging, and at certain point, I simply said to myself that I can't live like that anymore because I will develop mental illness. Since more than 3 years, I'm freelancer and my own boss. Is it an easy way? Not really. Because I do work more. I have days when I work way more than the 8 hours. I do not have 6 weeks of the holiday. So something which is standard in Europe, but I know that US has way less. But this what I want to say is that yes, I do have days when I work way more. And my agenda sometimes it's absolutely upside down. From another hand, I do see results of my work. I learn way more. I see how much I grew the last 3 years. Because when you do something with the purpose, when you do something for yourself, your motivation is totally different. Yes, it's way harder. You have unpredictable income. You have way more on your shoulders in terms of the money management. That's absolutely true. But it doesn't, such a work doesn't crush you or doesn't crush you. I mean, can crush you in terms of the being tired. That's absolutely true. But it doesn't crush your spirit. For me, being an employee crushed my spirit many times, and I lived in the constant self doubt of my skills, my qualifications. Because guess what? Always you'll find someone on the market who can do things better than you. And in the freelance work, it's the situation looks exactly the same. Simply in the freelance work, you have direct feedback from your client. You don't have umbrella of the appraisal, like yearly or half yearly appraisal. You have direct feedback from your client. So you know exactly where you are. You can always check the market, double check the market if you fit, how you fit, what you do right, what you do wrong. And that's not a sentence, that's a feedback. In many companies, any negative reviews of you are used to crush you in order to work more for exactly the same salary. And my message here for all of you who decide to turn on this video and stay with me to the almost eight through the almost 8 minutes, it's to encourage you to think outside of the box and think, or at least put on the chart of paper, how many years you already work as an employee and how long do you want to deal with the external circumstances, an external frame which is many times far away from your values. Because when I realized that I will need to work 20, 30 years more till my retirement, if I will even have retirement, but that's the different story, I decided I can't live like that. I simply can't. This would totally crush my spirit, probably destroy me on many levels than once. My message here is basically that if you feel that you don't belong to the world as an employee and you have enough creative spirit in you, and I do believe that all of us have, trying being a freelancer and at the same time having a job, it's already great start. It's not so scary as you might think. It requires a lot of work, that's true. But the difference, the major difference which I see with my head now and before, it's that after 8 hours of the job which I completely despised, uh, although I didn't have to despise this, what I was doing, I was despising, let's say, surroundings, many times my work colleagues. This drained me so much that when I came home from work, I didn't have energy. I felt like someone would take vacuum cleaner and literally took plenty of my energy out of me. So I was always tired, eternal complainer. And it took me a while when I came back home to decompress. This time, as a owner and as a freelancer, I didn't have this problem anymore. I'm tired because I work a lot, but I do not feel that my spirit is crushed. I feel purpose. I do have energy which comes from inside of me. And although I know that I can always do stuff better, this doesn't crush me. This is not a sentence. This is simply a feedback, and I can learn and fail, and learn again. And this is really motivating, encouraging, and the quality of my life and my peace of mind. In my peace of mind, it's totally different. I would encourage everybody to try because this is not so difficult as you might think. It requires simply different way of thinking and honest self-reflection and self-inventory because we have only one life. So why to waste it? Again, I do understand that for some people feel completely fine as employees and part of organization. I'm happy for them. Simply, I haven't. And my resume was clearly a reflection what kind of mismatch I was because I was never fired. I always left because I couldn't stand it. And I didn't have a boss or the courage to say directly to any of my boss that I cannot stand to be here anymore. I always said that, well, I have different opportunities, I need to change, and all those phrases which probably many of us used when we quitted. Think about it because it's totally worth to try to fight for yourself and for the better quality of life. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day. Bye.